Hello guys and welcome back to the Little Lawn Gaming Channel. Today we have the brand new start of a simulation. This time we've added Lamborghini into F1 2022 My Team Career Mode, and we are going to simulate it all and see how they get on. Firstly, we've gone on to the settings and we've made the R&D and the facility purchasing manual, so they will do it all themselves. I'll have absolutely nothing to do with it. And not only that, we've set up the team ready, so Mercedes will be powering Lamborghini and Felipe Drugovich will be his number 2 driver. This is going to be very interesting. The first few seasons usually we don't see too much from the creator team, but after that hopefully start getting some points and maybe, just maybe, pushing towards the championship. So as expected, going into Bahrain, we see no Lamborghinis on the board. They finish much lower, but what we do see is Max Verstappen picking up the first victory of the season ahead of Carlos Sainz in second. Charles Leclerc rounds off the podium in third. Sergio Perez is fourth, Hamilton fifth, Russell sixth, Norris seventh, Ricciardo eighth, Alonso ninth, and Ocon rounds off the points for Alpine in 10th. Saudi Arabia up next, and Max Verstappen makes it back-to-back victories for Red Bull. Carlos Sainz once again in second place. Checo Perez this time rounding off the podium in third, and Charles Leclerc was fourth. Lewis Hamilton finished fifth ahead of teammate George Russell in sixth, and Lando Norris made it a hat-trick of Brits on the trot in seventh. Valtteri Bottas was eighth ahead of Esteban Ocon in ninth, and Daniel Ricciardo picked up that final point in his McLaren. Down under we go to Australia, where Max Verstappen makes a hat-trick of victories at the start of the season and his teammate made it a Red Bull 1-2. Charles Leclerc rounded off the podium for Ferrari in third, Carlos Sainz was fourth, George Russell finished fifth alongside teammate Lewis Hamilton in sixth, Alonso was seventh ahead of his teammate Esteban Ocon in eighth, and Ricciardo was ninth, and Kevin Magnussen finished in 10th. Max Verstappen's rich vein of form continues in the sprint race at Imola, where he wins ahead of Charles Leclerc in second, Carlos Sainz was third, Russell fourth, Perez fifth, Hamilton sixth, Alonso seventh, and Ricciardo got that final point in eighth. So with the sprint race all done and dusted, it was time for the Grand Prix, where Lewis Hamilton picked up victory ahead of Max Verstappen in second, Charles Leclerc rounded off the podium in third, Sainz fourth, Russell fifth, Norris 6th, Alonso 7th, Ricciardo 8th, Ocon was 9th, and Kevin Magnussen picked up another point for Haas in 10th. Off to Miami next, and Max Verstappen makes it another victory for Red Bull, and Sergio Perez makes it another 1-2 for Red Bull. Carlos Sainz rounded off the podium in 3rd, and George Russell finished 4th ahead of teammate Lewis Hamilton in 5th. Leclerc was 6th, which would be very disappointing for him, ahead of Lando Norris in 7th. Daniel Ricciardo was 8th and Ocon was 9th, and Fernando Alonso picked up the final point for Alpine in 10th. And so after 5 races, Max Verstappen leads the Drivers' Championship 48 points ahead of Carlos Sainz in 2nd. Charles Leclerc is 3rd with Lewis Hamilton in 4th. Sergio Perez down in 5th, not really backing his teammate up, which is disappointing. George Russell was 6th, Norris 7th, Alonso 8th, Ricciardo 9th, and Esteban Ocon rounds off the top 10 for Alpine. And in the Constructors' Championship, Red Bull lead the way, 43 points ahead of Ferrari in 2nd, Mercedes are 3rd, McLaren 4th, Alpine 5th, Alfa Romeo are 6th, and Haas are the only other team to score with 2 points in 7th. Alpha Tauri, Aston Martin, Williams, and Lamborghini all yet to score, but Lamborghini are bottom of the pile. The usual sunny skies of Spain were actually quite cloudy for this one, but Max Verstappen picked up the victory ahead of George Russell in 2nd. Charles Leclerc was 3rd and Carlos Sainz was 4th. Sergio Perez came in behind Carlos Sainz in 5th, and Lewis Hamilton was 6th. Norris 7th, Alonso finished 8th, Ricciardo was 9th, and Magnussen once again getting a point for Haas in 10th. Monaco up next, and homeboy Charles Leclerc comes good as he picks up victory for the first time in the season ahead of Max Verstappen in 2nd. Carlos Sainz was 3rd and Lewis Hamilton 4th. Perez 5th, Russell 6th, Norris 7th, Ricciardo 8th, Alonso 9th, and Esteban Ocon finished in 10th. And after that fine street race, we head to Baku for another, where Checo Perez wins in Azerbaijan ahead of Carlos Sainz in 2nd. Charles Leclerc rounded off the podium in 3rd, and Max Verstappen was 4th. Hamilton finished 5th and Russell was 6th. Norris 7th, Ricciardo 8th, Alonso 9th, and Pierre Gasly picking up Alfa Tauri's first point of the season. Canada up next, and Max Verstappen returns to winning ways, and Red Bull get the 1-2 with Checo Perez following him in second. Lewis Hamilton got himself on the podium in third, and Charles Leclerc was fourth. Carlos Sainz finished fifth, and Lando Norris finished sixth. Ricciardo was seventh, Ocon 8th, and Alonso in his Alpine finished 9th. And Yuki Tsunoda, just after Gasly picked up AlphaTauri's first point, picked up AlphaTauri's second point in 10th. Britain up next, and Max Verstappen wins the British Grand Prix ahead of homeboy George Russell in second. Carlos Sainz rounded off the podium in third, and Lewis Hamilton, also at a home Grand Prix, finished a respectable fourth. Sergio Perez was fifth with Fernando Alonso in sixth, and Daniel Ricciardo in his McLaren finished seventh. Ocon was 8th, and Gasly and Tsunoda both finished 9th and 10th, getting AlphaTauri their first double points finish of the season. Austria and the second sprint weekend of the season up next, and Max Verstappen won the sprint race ahead of Carlos Sainz in second. Charles Leclerc was third, Perez fourth, Russell fifth, Hamilton sixth, Norris seventh, and Alonso got the final point in 8th. And all that means in the Grand Prix, Verstappen picked up victory ahead of teammate Checo Perez, making it a Red Bull 1-2. Charles Leclerc rounded off the podium in third, Sainz was fourth, Russell fifth, Norris sixth, Hamilton seventh, Ricciardo 8th, Ocon 9th, and Alonso finished in 10th. And now we had a bit of trouble. We failed to get Felipe Drugovich to stay on at Lamborghini, so that means we brought in Théo Pourchaire for at least the rest of the season, if not a couple of seasons, while the team finds their feet. But that was the move we made after Felipe Drugovich refused to stay. France up next, and business as usual for Max Verstappen as he wins ahead of George Russell in second. Charles Leclerc was in third, Hamilton fourth, Perez fifth, Alonso sixth, Norris seventh, Sainz all the way down in 8th. Very disappointing weekend for him. Ricciardo was 9th, and Ocon finished in 10th. And now on to the final race before the mid-season break, where Lando Norris picked up victory in Hungary ahead of Max Verstappen in second. Sainz rounded off the podium in third, and Leclerc was fourth. Hamilton finished fifth, and Russell was sixth. Perez all the way down in seventh. Alonso was 8th, Ricciardo 9th, and Alexander Albon picking up Williams' first point of the season. So heading into the break, Max Verstappen still leads the Drivers' Championship 123 points ahead of Carlos Sainz in second. Leclerc is third, Perez fourth, Hamilton fifth, Russell sixth, Norris seventh, Alonso 8th, Ricciardo 9th, and Ocon rounds off the top 10 in his Alpine. Belgium up next, and Charles Leclerc picked up victory ahead of Max Verstappen in second. Sergio Perez was third, Ricciardo fourth, Norris fifth in a very strong showing from McLaren, Sainz sixth, Hamilton seventh, Alonso 8th, Ocon 9th, and Albon once again back-to-back points in races for Williams. Netherlands up next, and Charles Leclerc has found some form as he wins ahead of George Russell in second. Lewis Hamilton rounded off the podium in third, meaning Max Verstappen finished fourth. Carlos Sainz was fifth, and Norris was sixth. Perez finished 7th ahead of Daniel Ricciardo in 8th. Alonso finished ahead of his teammate Ocon in 9th, which meant Ocon got that final point in 10th. One of my favourite tracks up next in Monza, and Checo Perez picked up the victory for Red Bull with Max Verstappen finishing in second. Charles Leclerc was third ahead of Lando Norris in fourth. Lewis Hamilton finished in fifth ahead of the second Ferrari of Carlos Sainz. George Russell was 7th and Ricciardo was 8th, and Alonso was 9th ahead of once again his teammate Ocon in 10th. Off on to the Asian leg now, where Charles Leclerc picked up victory in Singapore ahead of teammate Carlos Sainz in second. Sergio Perez rounded off the podium in third, which meant Max Verstappen was fourth. Lewis Hamilton finished fifth and Daniel Ricciardo was sixth. George Russell in a disappointing 7th place finish with Fernando Alonso in 8th. Esteban Ocon finished 9th, and Kevin Magnussen rounded off the points in 10th. Off to Japan we went, where Lando Norris picked up victory ahead of Max Verstappen in second. Carlos Sainz was third, Lewis Hamilton was in fourth, George Russell fifth, and Fernando Alonso in 6th place, which was great for him and Alpine. Daniel Ricciardo finished 7th and Ocon was 8th. Perez very disappointing in 9th, and Kevin Magnussen finished in 10th. Across the pond and off to America, where Charles Leclerc picked up victory ahead of Lando Norris in second. Carlos Sainz ensured both Ferraris were on the podium, and Daniel Ricciardo was up in fourth. Fantastic weekend for McLaren. Hamilton finished fifth, and Sergio Perez was sixth. Alonso was 7th, and Russell was 8th. Max Verstappen in a very disappointing Grand Prix down in 9th, and Pierre Gasly finished in 10th. And with 3 races to go, Max Verstappen holds an 87-point lead over Charles Leclerc in 2nd place, Carlos Sainz is 3rd and Sergio Perez is 4th, Lewis Hamilton is in 5th place and George Russell is 6th, Norris is 7th, Ricciardo is 8th, Alonso 9th, and as he has been all season, Ocon rounds off the top 10. And in the Constructors, Red Bull once again lead the way, 77 points ahead of Ferrari in 2nd, Mercedes are 3rd, McLaren 4th, Alpine 5th, Alfa Tauri are 6th, Haas are 7th, Alfa Romeo are 8th, Williams 9th, and Aston Martin are 10th, and Lamborghini still sit bottom of the pile. And it's a trip down south now where we go to Mexico, and Max Verstappen picked up victory ahead of Lando Norris in 2nd, Lewis Hamilton finished 3rd rounding off the podium, and homeboy Checo Perez finished in 4th, Alonso up in 5th, great from him, and Daniel Ricciardo was 6th. Sainz finished 7th and Ocon was 8th. Sebastian Vettel picked up Aston Martin's first points of the season in 9th, whilst Pierre Gasly finished in 10th. Off to Brazil in the final sprint weekend of the season where Charles Leclerc won the sprint race ahead of Lando Norris in 2nd, Carlos Sainz finished 3rd and Lewis Hamilton 4th, Perez was 5th and Russell was 6th, Verstappen finished 7th and Fernando Alonso got the final point in 8th. And in the Grand Prix, Lando Norris picked up victory ahead of George Russell in 2nd, Charles Leclerc rounded off the podium in 3rd, Lewis Hamilton finished 4th, Perez was 5th, Sainz 6th, Ricciardo 7th, Alonso 8th, Ocon 9th, and Albon finished in 10th. Next up was the final race of the season in Abu Dhabi where Max Verstappen picked up victory ahead of George Russell in 2nd, Charles Leclerc rounded off the podium in 3rd, Norris was 4th, Sainz 5th, Alonso 6th, Perez 7th, Hamilton 8th, Vettel once again picking up some points for Aston Martin in 9th, and Bottas finished in 10th. And all that means for our first season, Max Verstappen is the world champion, 101 points ahead of Charles Leclerc in the end. Carlos Sainz was 3rd, Perez was 4th, Hamilton 5th, Norris 6th, Russell 7th, Ricciardo 8th, Alonso 9th, and Ocon finished in 10th. And in the Constructors, Red Bull pick up the championship, 93 points ahead of Ferrari in the end. Mercedes were 3rd, McLaren 4th, Alpine 5th, Alfa Tauri 6th, Alfa Romeo managed to get up into 7th, Haas were 8th, Aston Martin were 9th, Williams 10th, and Lamborghini, the only team not to pick up any points, in 11th. So there we have it, Max Verstappen and Red Bull dominate the first season of this Lamborghini save. Lamborghini, very unfortunate, the only team not to pick up any points this season, finished bottom of the pile, fingers crossed. Either next season or in the coming seasons they can improve. But if you are liking the concept and you did enjoy the video, please do drop it a like, give the channel a subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later.